Greetings and salutations. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is doing well. Come on in, come on in. Oh, I've been busy today. Um, Let me give everyone a couple moments just to come on in. And then once everyone comes on in, I'm just going to start with this information because it's so much, right? It's so much. So, like I said, let me give everyone a couple more minutes to come in. And I need to step away for just a moment. But when I come back, we're going to start with this information. All right. So come on in. Come on in. All right. I am back. I'm back. Ooh, let me get my laptop charger. All right. So I have my laptop charger. Got my laptop charger. We're going to get into this information. This is strictly academic today. Strictly academic today. And it's so much to get through. I don't know how much we're going to get through because it's literally a lot. It's literally a lot. Um, Let me just when I tell y'all I was sitting here like a cray person trying to these dates and everything like that. Listen, it just is what it is. It just is what it is. So let me, where was I just at? Because I just lost what I was looking at. I just lost it. Okay. Let me see something. What's this? Okay. Let me, because I am lost in this information. Okay. Lost in this information. So, okay. So let me just pull this in real quick. And I'm just going to start out, like I said, with this information. Because I have, a little thesis and whatnot. I did not calculate all these charts. I just wrote stuff down, but we can calculate some of the charts. So let me go to this one. So I can bring this in. Okay, we're going to start here. We're going to start here. Okay. No, I set the stream for 3:30. I set the stream for 3:30. Where is it at? So I was on time. I was on time. Okay. So, okay. We're just gonna get right into it. We all know that, eclipses are a thing. We have another eclipse coming up at the end of this month, eclipse in Aries. So this eclipse in Aries for us here in the world is going to be a solar eclipse. And it just is what it is. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Um may we all stay safe and only good things happen to us during and after this eclipse. Amen. Okay. So, okay. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. For people who don't know me, I'm Q, spiritual worker, tarot reader slash psychic, astrologer, lover of tacos, former pet mom. My dog just died at the last eclipse. Um, Wife, traveler, sorority lady, all these good things. So if you don't know me, welcome. That's a little bit about me. You can go back and read this screen at your leisure. So, eclipses in astrology, right? We kind of went over this before. If you did not watch my eclipse video that I did, what was that, last week? Either last week or early this week. I can't remember. The days are floating together. Eclipses in astrology are a big deal. They are astrological wild cards, okay? They are astrological wild cards. They often bring about change in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, where that change is going to happen for you individually as a person, it depends on where that eclipse is falling in your house, as well as if you have any personal planets in your natal chart that occur at the same numerical degree of the eclipse. So, say if you have Venus at 26 degrees of Aries and there is an Aries solar eclipse, at 26 degrees of Aries, yeah, that might hit you. Or if you have your moon is at 6 degrees Aquarius and the next solar eclipse is at 6 degrees of Gemini, that's going to touch you. Okay, it's going to touch you. So you always look at where this eclipse is going to fall in your personal chart and check the degrees, okay? And check, if you have some major planets in the same sign as where the eclipse is going to fall, okay? Changes can be dramatic, okay? Eclipses are about cycles, one thing ending, something new beginning, right? For you to get a new job, you will have to leave your old job. Sometimes people get married, they get divorced, they get pregnant, they have children near their eclipses, get new jobs, move across the country, whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay, that's on a personal level. On a worldwide level, eclipses can bring, severe weather events, earthquakes. They could bring new laws being passed, new rulings in court systems. They could bring the death of rulers. They can bring impeachment. They can bring all of these different things. They can bring wars starting, ceasefires, all these different things, right? So it just really depends on the eclipse and what's literally going on in the world. And how do we know these things? Because as astrologers, we study, okay, this eclipse was this day. What happened near or around this eclipse? And we just go back through history and we make the correlations between, okay, this was an eclipse. This is what happened. Oh, we can see through history, these things happen. So, because astrology is a lot of research, it's a lot of history, it's a lot of digging through events, eclipses have been thought to be, omens of change. An omen is often loaded as a negative word, but change is change, right? Change is constant. It's the only thing that's forever. Change is forever. Okay. Eclipses occur in pairs via new moons, which are solar eclipses, and full moons, which are lunar eclipses. And these pairs will occur 2 to 3 times a year, sometimes more than that, depending on what's happening astronomically. Okay. Eclipses also occur on the axis of zodiac signs. So the zodiacal wheel made up of the 12 zodiac signs. Okay. Every zodiac sign has an opposite. That opposite is part of the pair. So in this example, Virgo, the sign of Virgo, is the opposite or the pair to the sign of Pisces. Okay. And as the eclipses move through time, they will move and change and flow through these zodiac signs. Okay. Everybody got it? Okay, cool. Um, let me just see what you all are saying in the chat. Yes, Venus is retrograde, Mercury is retrograde. We just had a lunar eclipse. We're about to have we just had the lunar eclipse, and then we're about to have this solar eclipse in Aries. Okay. So, March is a lot going on astrologically. So, um, all right. So that is that. Now, again, eclipses in astrology, they were thought as harbingers of something, some type of change, some type of omen, some type of, okay, an eclipse is coming. Do we have to prepare for something? Do we have to get ready for something? Do we have to, something like that? During ancient times, so, going through the history, with astrology originating in the Middle East, moving west, um, astrology in medieval times, in ancient times, were really, really feared. People normally freaked out because they were associated with the life and death or reign or rule of kings, queens, and or major political figures. Okay. So this is why, we'd be like, oh my God, the eclipse. Okay. Because they are, events recorded through history. You literally have to just sit and comb through history. And again, see when there's an eclipse, see something major that happened. Okay. And look at that. Um, the eclipse that we just had in Virgo, that eclipse is linked to the 2007 eclipse in Virgo. And I have looked at it. The parallels are in March 2007, around the time of that eclipse in March in Virgo. They were talking about bird flu being a thing. And what do we have today? The whole bird flu thing, which is supposed to be why can't nobody find no eggs and no chicken wings, right? So you have to sit there and do the research and do the history and just make your observations, note your observations. Now, I know a lot of times people, there are some people who believe in astrology. There are some people who don't believe in astrology. Whatever you believe, it's fine. But, today, when we are talking about astrology, a lot of times it's lumped into these people are scammers, or it's not scientific, or astrology is people something that stupid people do. Astrology is, why are you a loser? You're doing astrology. Oh, you really believe in that stuff, whatever. But astrology is so much more, right? Astrology is so much more. um It's actually a study that's based on a lot of fundamental fields of study that we revere and respect today, right? Again, astrology gets this bad rap of, you're a scam artist, you're doing this, you're preying on people, these people are desperate. The same thing can be said about tarot or other psychic readings or going to see a medium or doing magic, things like that, right? And I understand that because Right now, the world that we live in, astrology is presented to the world in mass as something just along the pop astrology lines, right? This is why for the most part, like I don't do for the most part, I don't do like collective readings because tarot readings are very, very individual and it's really supposed to be a conversation between myself and the client. I'm not here to predict for the entire 8 billion people on this planet, right? When we see these horoscopes in the magazines, and newspapers, that is what people know astrology as Libra today, this month Libra, you may such and such and such. It's so general. And when you're talking about a sun sign and messages for a sun sign for however many millions of people have the same sun sign, of course, it's going to be wrong. Okay? Of course, it's going to be wrong. So, at the surface level, this is what astrology is. It's just looking at stuff in the newspaper or your horoscope on this magazine, or whatever, whatever, whatever. It's so much more than that. But did you know throughout history, astrologers, they were respected. Kings, queens, monarchs, other officials, even down to the people in the working class, they knew what astrology was. It was respected. Right. That's a good point, Donna. Donna says the problem is that people think, retrograde or Mercury retrograde, and that's literally like when people are making fun of astrology, they're just like, oh, is Mercury drinking Gatorade again? Or, because this is what it's been. Pop culture has only, or as of late, this is what the world or the mainstream society knows of astrology. Just a horoscope, and oh my God, Mercury is drinking haterade, right? It's so much more than that. But throughout history, astrologers not only were respected um in their profession, but they were people who were learned. They were people who were educated, right? They were people who were learned, they were people who were educated. Astrologers of old were people who studied, okay, science. They studied earth science. How would they even know that there's an eclipse coming, right? Astronomy, NASA and all them other people, that's astronomy. That is a science, okay? Astrology pulls in from, okay, this is what this planet is doing, the motion in the sky. This is when this eclipse is going to happen. Things like that. A lot of the things and points that are used in astrology comes from astronomy. When we're talking about we're talking about these asteroids, we're talking about fixed stars, we're talking about the movements in the sky. When we're talking about these important turning points energetically in astrology, we're often talking about the changes of major signs, when we're going from winter to spring, spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter. These are things that are based in science. Okay? These are things that are based in science. And again, ye old astrologers, they were men of science. They studied earth science. They studied astronomy. They studied medicine. They were mathematicians. They were physicists. Okay? So all of this astrology is bullshit. A lot of the people who were doing it were highly, highly educated. Okay, highly, highly educated. Okay. And, astrology really is the study of planetary motions, how these planets move around each other, and how these movements correspond to human activities on a personal and on a larger scale. It really is the study and correlation of planetary cycles and going back through history and seeing what the hell is going on. Okay. This is why, I don't want to say we predict, but um we can have educated guesses as to what's going on or how things may affect a people or a country or, things of that nature. Because it really is a study of cycles and how these cycles repeat, what changes in these cycles, and how these cycles, what are the themes that pretty much stay the same every time this planet does this. Okay. Astronomy, mathematics, history, sociology are very much interwoven with, and one could argue, are foundations of astrology. Okay. There's astrological studies of how music changes, the tone and the nature of how music changes when certain planets are changing signs. We are looking into how art changes, how technology and science changes when we are looking at these cycles. Okay, even generations. We like to talk Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, boomers. There's an astrological component to that too, and how we're seeing the overall energetics and personalities and themes among people born with some of the same outer planetary energies, right? It really is a thing. It really is a thing. So, astrology, it really is a thing. Now, it really is a thing. Now, I don't want nobody to say I'm bullshitting or whatever, but so we can talk about some of these astrologers. There are astrologers whose names you won't know, but here are a few astrologers that were famous for other things. Okay. And we can start with good sir here, Geoffrey Chaucer. If you're I don't know about education in Canada, Donna, but here in the United States, in high school, I remember when I was in high school and I was taking English in like my sophomore year. We went over all of the older ancient medieval um literature. So we were going over Beowulf, we were going over the Canterbury Tales, we were going through Beowulf, the Odyssey, the Iliad, all these, super old stuff, even going through, the Victorian era. Coming out of that, I remember reading Of Mice and Men. I remember reading all these things when I was in high school. So yes, this is the same Geoffrey Chaucer who wrote the Canterbury Tales. Geoffrey Chaucer held an important office under one of the English kings, Richard II. Geoffrey Chaucer, okay, is linked to an astrolabe via his work, and it was called the Treatise on the Astrolabe. What Q was an astrolabe? Let me tell you, I'm going to show you what an astrolabe is. So I have to stop sharing this page, but I'm gonna present. I'm gonna present to you, baby. So let me get this. Where is it? Okay, we're gonna go here to this page. So let me go here and share it because I want you all to see how things um really are related, and how a lot of people like to shit on it, but it truly was a thing and something that was studied. Okay. So, and let me make this bigger for you all. Let me kind of pull myself down, make this bigger so you all can truly see because it is. Okay, let me brighten the screen and break it in. Okay. This is the Yale, okay, prestigious university, Yale. This is from Yale's alumni magazine. Okay. This is from Yale's alumni magazine. And this is Chaucer, Medicine and the Stars, a 16th century astrolabe in Yale's collection was used to determine treatment. Let's go into it. And here they start out with a quote from Chaucer. Quote, "Would you like to know something about the stars?" End quote. The eagle asks his ward Geoffrey, the narrator in Geoffrey Chaucer's dream poem, The House of Fame. "Certainly not. I am too old." "A pity," says the eagle. Now, we get into it some more. Um, Treatise on Astrolabe, circa 1391, in which he wrote for his 10-year-old son. Okay. There are still 33 copies of the treatise. Okay. A prime example of the instrument pictured here. This is an astrolabe. This is an astrolabe. It looks like, um, your fun algebraic, when you taking all them different maths and stuff and you got to calculate with your little instruments. That's what that is. An astrolabe is a movable planispheric model of the universe. Okay? That is what an astrolabe is. Let me share this other page because like I said, I want people to understand that we not just on bullshit. Okay. So, let me share this one so we can all see. And this is from the archives history.ac.uk. So this is from the United Kingdom. This is a historical site from the United Kingdom. As you can see here, the Chaucer Astrolabe, and this is what it looks like right here. This Chaucer Astrolabe is in the London British Museum. The sophisticated instrument in the British Museum is nevertheless of exceptional interest in the context of Richard's court. This type of astrolabe has been linked to the poet Geoffrey Chaucer, who held important royal offices under Richard II. An astrolabe is basically a two-dimensional map of the celestial sphere, meaning the sky. The most important stars and major circles in the sky are projected onto a metal sheet. Okay? Astrolabe. That's what an astrolabe is, honey. Okay? Astrolabe. So that's Chaucer, right? That's Chaucer. Now, who else was on this list? Who else is on this list? Okay, Galilei. Okay. I think we all know Galileo, when you had your science. Galileo was an Italian astronomer, physicist, and engineer. So Galileo was someone who was educated. Galileo was someone who was educated. Okay. Now let me see. What did I do with my? Where is my? Oh, yeah. So Galileo. Let's click this here. And I don't know if you all can see because I am moving through. Okay. You see this right there? That says University of Maryland. So that's the link I'm about to click on. I'm about to click on University of Maryland. Okay. University of Maryland. Okay. Galileo, he studied. Okay. He was educated. He was educated. Okay. He was very, very educated. He was educated. Where's my Galileo page? Where is my Galileo page? But Galileo was one too. Galileo was one too. Ooh, that's John D. Galileo was one. But this, Galileo, he was doing horoscopes and stuff too. But one of the ones I really want to get to, I really want to get to Kepler because Kepler is, as we know, Kepler was also a scientist. Okay, he was a German astronomer and mathematician. came up with the three laws of planetary motion, right? So Kepler, let's go to this page. Okay. This page is a copyright 1999 from the Department of History and Philosophy of Science at the University of Cambridge. So this page that we're on right now. So as we can see, Kepler and astrology. Kepler disdained astrologers who pandered to the tastes of the common man without knowledge of the abstract and general rules. Kepler says, why are you trying to do this and you're not even educated on what the hell you're doing? Okay. One does just not like, I'm gonna just do some astrology. You have to study. You have to apply things. Okay. So Kepler was out here turning up his nose at people who didn't study, at people who didn't know what the hell that they were doing, as he should, right? There's always an issue of people doing things that they don't have education and or experience on, right? If we, astrology is a thing, and you're always going to be a lifelong learner, right? Right? You don't go to the doctor that's uncredentialed, who don't know what they're doing. You don't do that. But Kepler disdained astrologers who pander to the taste of the common man without knowledge of the abstract and general rules. And let me move this down. But he saw compiling prognostications, okay, so doing horoscopes and stuff like that, as a justified means of supplementing his meager income. Kepler said, don't be out here doing astrology if you don't know what the hell you're doing. But he was also fine with doing this type of work to supplement his income. Okay? To supplement his income. This means all these people out here who talking about some, well, you're not supposed to get paid for doing your spiritual work. You're not supposed to, this is supposed to be free. If you have studied, if you know what you are doing, if you are educated, why the hell should you not be paid for practicing something that you have great knowledge and grasp of? So if anyone listens to this in the playback, just know that Q does collect payment for her services, both spiritual and astrological. Okay? Q collects her payments, as many others do. Now, this is, we live in a capitalistic society. What one person charges is different from someone else charges. But I'm not here to tell people not to charge for it. And a bunch of these other people who were educated and who knew what they're doing, they were saying it too. Okay? Kepler believed in astrology in the sense that he was convinced that planetary configurations physically and really affected humans as well as the weather on Earth. This is a prominent scientist who is saying this. A prominent scientist who is saying this. Okay. Okay. Kepler advocated that a definite relationship between heavenly phenomena and earthly events could be established. Okay. At least 800 horoscopes, so talking about charts, drawn up by Kepler are still extant, several of himself and his family, accompanied by some unflattering remarks. So, do we all see this? It's always been a thing. And yes, the scientists whose works we still revere and use and lean on today, many of them were astrologers. Okay. So, and this is just a few. There are so many more through history. So many more through history. And I just want to show you all something. I just want to show you all something. So I don't know if you all remember, it was last year I went to the Griffith Observatory. The Griffith Observatory is an observatory. It is a place of science in Los Angeles, California. Okay. Remember, we just saw Kepler. We saw Galileo. There were some astrologers. There are others as well. But if you've never been to the Griffith Observatory, I definitely advise you to go because one, it's free and it's open year round. You know, all the exhibits and stuff are on the inside. Here's the thing. When you go to the Griffith Observatory, there's this statue outside. There's a 7-point statue outside. And there's a statue outside, right? The Astronomer's Monument. It's a large outdoor concrete sculpture on the front lawn that pays homage to six of the greatest astronomers of all time. Now, we already know, we just went over it. Galileo and Kepler were astrologers. Okay? But you see, the six astronomers featured, and excuse me, I said 7-point, but it's a 6-point. The six astronomers featured on the monument are among the most influential and important in history. The six figures represent the Greek astronomer Hipparchus, Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, Johann Kepler, Isaac Newton, and William Herschel. Now, I have done my own research, and maybe I will present that one day. But Griffith Observatory, Griffith, the man who dedicated the land to Los Angeles and built this observatory, he was a Freemason. He was a Freemason. Isaac Newton is kind of known to have been, traipsing around with Freemasons as well. Okay. And I'm coming to a point. I'm coming to a point. So this is, Galileo Galilei. The invention of the telescope. He discovered 4 satellites revolving around Jupiter. Like I said, these are men of science. These are men of science. And at least 2 of them here at the Griffith Observatory of Astronomy were astrologers. They were astrologers. You went there 2 weeks ago? Yeah, when the weather is warm, my husband and I will probably go back. But yeah. So I also want to show you the exhibits inside. So in the main level, you can look at, okay, now there's the huge public telescope that you can look at planets depending on whatever they are featuring to look at during that time. You have to wait in line to do it, but like I said, the Griffith Observatory, it's free. Okay. Now, this is the Keck Rotunda. This is the Keck Rotunda. You can look at this. You see all this there? You see all this astrology up here? These zodiac signs up here? Uh-huh. 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 Look at all this. Okay. These are murals. You can see this is the Libra sign right here. The Libra zodiac symbol. You got, if when you go inside the Griffith Observatory and you look at these pictures, this beautiful painting up here, you got the scorpion for Scorpio, the Scorpio sign right here. This is the Leo right here. This is what's in the ceiling. So it's not just astronomy like, oh, we're going to look at the moon. And yeah, there are comets. These are the images. This is zodiac. Yes, we have, but I want you all to think about how the zodiac and how these things have permeated our world, right? Even if you don't believe in horoscopes, we have the what? The Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, right? When we are identifying these constellations and stuff like that, constellation of such and such is in such and such galaxy, this star is in such and such constellation in Virgo or whatever. These things are part of our world. These things are part of our world. And again, The Griffith Observatory, named after Griffith, because he donated the land and all like that. He he was a Freemason, and I'm getting somewhere with this. I'm getting somewhere with this. Okay, what am I getting at? Q, what are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about. And let me find my page. Okay, this is, and let me make this bigger because today we're going to kind of look into some of these eclipses as it pertains to the British monarchy. This is from Cambridge University Press, so Cambridge. There's a book by Francis Young called Magic in Merlin's Realm, A History of Occult Politics in Britain. Okay? So this book talks about magic, occult philosophy, how magic was all up and through Britain, which is England, right? Um how these things were used as it relates to political events, monarchies, and things like that in Britain. Okay, so the first chapter is Britain indulges in magic, the origins of occult traditions in Britain. Magic was not new to medieval Britain, but traditions of learned magic that reached Britain from the Islamic world in the 12th century transformed perceptions of the political importance of magic. Transformed perceptions of the political importance of magic. Okay. The figure Merlin, we all know Merlin and King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table and all like that. Okay. Merlin, confabulated by Geoffrey of Monmouth, represented an ideal royal counselor with mastery of the occult arts. Are you all understanding? Because this is this is whole, yeah, kings, queens, politicians, and all these people, they have, the royal advisors, the people in the royal court. uh you know um the president has their political advisors, their military advisors, their science advisors. People in power, they have advisors, they have people that they go to, things like that. But this, like they said, this was the beginning of the representation of an ideal royal counselor with mastery of the occult arts. This includes astrology. So if you have someone who is a master of the occult arts, who does magic, who can create your horoscopes and pull up these charts and show you this is a good day to do this, this is not a good day to do that, this next week will be a great week to attack your enemy. Now next week will be the better day to announce the raises and taxes because the people won't fight you as much. This is kings and queens and political figures. They have advisors. So this is talking about the beginning of using magic, including astrology, in Great Britain. So if you have someone who is pulling up these horoscopes, they can tell you like, yeah, well, you know, your next, just for an example, your next child, your son, your daughter, okay, if you have a child and they're born around this time, yeah, they'll be the person to continue ruling. Okay? This chapter explores Britain's reputation for magic from the Roman era onwards and introduces the various occult traditions introduced to Britain in the Middle Ages, including the harnessing of occult properties through natural magic, through use of ritual magic to summon spirits, Kabbalah, alchemy, astrology, occult prophecy, and witchcraft. All of these occult traditions have had the potential to play a role in politics, whether as threats to be feared by governments or as supernatural technologies that were potentially attractive to rulers. Okay. So, like I said, people have been, all these people out here, they telling you no magic, no magic, no magic. Ha ha ha, you do this, why you do that, you stupid. Baby, They don't want you to know what they know, because if you can use what they use, you can take care of yourself as well. Okay. So is everybody still with me? Okay. Um okay, let me know that you all are still with me. Okay. In the second chapter, Secrets of the King, medieval monarchs feared political sorcery as a form of treason, but monarchs themselves were also accused of using magic, and several kings became intensely interested in the political and financial potential of occult traditions. Beginning in the 12th century, rulers began to show interest in the political potential of astrological prognostications, although it was not until the 14th century, so 14th century, that's the 1300s, that accusations of political sorcery first burst onto the scene in England. A succession of royal advisors, including Roger Bacon and George Ripley, attempted to assume the mantle of Merlin and counsel England's kings. Okay. While Richard II went beyond other marks in defining himself as a royal magus. And a magus is just you're the mage, you're a spiritual worker. Medieval kings attempted to draw on occult knowledge for both warfare and financial aid in the Hundred Years' War. During the Wars of the Roses, okay, politically motivated accusations of sorcery played a key role in the rise of Richard III. Okay, so like I said, there are plenty. The people out here are using their magic. They really are using their magic out here. They really are. I want to show you all something right here, just to show you, like, even today is still a thing. Now, this is called the C-Suite Network. And I found this. This was very interesting. This little article right here was called The Benefits of Integrating Astrological Insights into Your Business Strategy. This is here. This is c-suitenetwork.com. This is what they're saying. There are benefits, okay? Throughout history, astrology has been a useful tool for scientific methods, political strategy, business growth, and the pursuit of fame. The earliest popes used astrology either through others' interpretations or their own. Scientists such as Hippocrates, the father of medicine, believed in astrology was invaluable to medicine, even teaching astrology to his medical students. A physician without the knowledge of astrology has no right to call himself a physician. Galileo Galilei was both an astronomer and astrologer, drafting horoscopes for the nobility and students. And Johann Kepler, the calculator of planetary motion, was also the official astrologer for the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II. Carl Jung, okay, when we're talking about psychology, Carl Jung incorporated astrology with his psychological counseling work, calling it synchronicity, and is quoted as saying, "Your psyche is the breathing of the cosmos." Famous astrologer John Dee counseled Queen Elizabeth I. Teddy Roosevelt hung his natal chart in the Oval Office. FDR quoted horoscopes, and President Reagan used an astrologer while making decisions. JP Morgan is the most recognized businessman to use astrology, and it is said that JP Morgan said, quote, "Millionaires don't use astrologers, businesses do." So, it is also said, it's claimed that it's common knowledge that a large percentage of Wall Street brokers use astrology. Okay. So this is definitely a thing. It's always been a thing, and people don't like to say it or don't want, they don't want to give credence to it, but it is absolutely a thing. So, with this being a thing, um, with this being a thing, we've been talking about eclipses and history, and somebody had mentioned, oh, the British monarchs, because we just saw that, through that book. Yeah, kings and queens were using magic and astrology to do whatever it is that they needed to do. So why wouldn't they use astrology to potentially line up certain events or line up the birth of their children or make other moves, right? So, with that being said, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. And I will gently pull up these charts and we're going to examine things. But yeah, I'm going to pull up these charts. Wow, just an hour on the background. Okay. So, let me start pulling up these charts and let me tell you how I got here. Um how I got here. So, let's go here. Okay. Let me bring this over here so that we can look at it together. Let me close this. Let me close this. Okay. So I'm going to bring up this other page so we can look at it together. Okay. Okay. Is everybody still with me? I know I've been kind of rambling, but I really just wanted to kind of get like some background and kind of set the stage for what we're about to go through. Okay, so go ahead and put a one in the chat if you're still with me. Like I said, I know this isn't a fun stream, but I just wanted to present this to you all because somebody asked. So put a one in the chat if you're still here listening. Okay. Let me just move myself out of the way. Okay. So, okay. Okay, I'm seeing some ones. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So this is we are here historicuk.com, kings and queens of England and Britain. So this is a full list of king and queens of England and Britain with portraits and photos. So there have been 63 monarchs of England and Britain spread over a period of 1200 years. That's a lot, right? 1200 years. So if you remember, we were just looking at that book about we were just looking at the book, and the book was by author Francis Young, Magic in Merlin's Realm. Okay. And what this author said was that um what this author said was that it really wasn't until like the let me go back to this page. It really wasn't until like the 12th century where rulers began to show interest in the political potential of astrological prognostications of the 12th century, that's the 1100s, right? So let me just bring up my notes. I got to start with the notes. So the basis of this is, were there how do these eclipses run through the British monarchy, right? How do these eclipses run through the British monarchy? They definitely run. So what I'm going to present to you, and I'm not going to be on here long. I'm probably just going to get through like the first half because there were so many. I'm just going to get through the first half, and I'll probably have to come back either tomorrow, probably either tomorrow or Friday with the second part because it's just so much. Um, so how am I going to present this? I'm going to show you kings that were either British monarchs that were either born on or near an eclipse, or were coronated on or near an eclipse, or died on or near an eclipse, or buried on or near an eclipse. And I'm using the time frame of within 2 weeks to a month of an eclipse. Okay? So that's how I'm going to do this. So, we are going to start with, let me get this. We're going to start with King Edred, because I looked at these people. I looked at Egbert, I looked at Ethelwulf, I looked at Ethelbald. I do not speak old English. Ethelbert, Ethelred, Alfred the Great. Um, it wasn't really until I started getting into um the 900s. It wasn't until like the 900s. So we're gonna start here with King Edred. King Edred, who was son of Edward the Ruler by his third marriage, he succeeded his brother Edmund following premature death. Okay, so this is when Britain was, England was still out here. England and the Vikings, the Norse, they were, sacking England, stealing stuff and all like that. So, he died in his early 30s, unmarried, without an heir in Somerset. He's buried in Winchester. So, King Edred, he was born, um, so this is just their rule. So, King Edred, so let me pull up this other one here. Let me go back to, I gotta go back through these pages. King Edred, not Ironside. I'm gonna be switching through these pages. Edgar, Edwig. Okay, Edred. Okay, so let's look here. Uh, let's look here. Okay, let me see if you all can see it. I just want to make sure you all can see it. Okay, so King Edred. Let me make this bigger for you all. King Edred. So we see this here. His reign was the 26th of May, 1946 to November 23rd, 1955. King Edred. King Edred. His coronation was August 16th, 1946. Guess what? King Edred was coronated one day after the August 15th lunar eclipse in Aquarius at 26 degrees. How interesting is that? Let me just pull it up for you. Let me just pull it up for you. So we see it here. His coronation was 16 August 1946. Yeah, let me pull up this eclipse, honey. Let me pull it up, baby. Because we got to see. We got to see. Just so everyone can see that I'm not bullshitting when I show you this. That I'm not bullshitting. So let me change this to, let me just change this to there is no, and it's funny because in this there is no like Britain. It's like how do they do it? It's Britain. Oh, they do United Kingdom. So they do United Kingdom in this software. Let me just say London, United Kingdom. Okay, so he was in Somerset. Let me just say Somerset. See if it'll come up. Okay. Okay. So this was the eclipse. He died on what was it? He no, his coronation was 16th of August 1946. So let me show the wheel, share the screen so we can see it here. August 15th, 946 AD. Do we see this lunar eclipse here? This lunar eclipse is here. 946. 946, I'm sorry. 946. So he was that's when he was coronated. That's when it was there. That's when it was there. The next one is, and I wish I could have all these up at the same time, but I can't. So the next ruler is Edgar. King Edgar the Peacemaker. King Edward the Peacemaker died July 8th, 1975, which was about 2 weeks before the July 25th lunar eclipse in Aquarius. So let me just go 975, July 25th in Aquarius. Okay. So here it is. That was lunar eclipse in Aquarius. Lunar eclipse in Aquarius. Okay, we see the moon down here. Yeah, in the fourth house. So, that's where it was. The next king to have something going on in a damn eclipse. Okay. That was King Athelred. King Athelred died April 23rd, 1016, which was about 2 weeks before the May 9th, 1016 solar eclipse in Taurus. So, Athelred. So, 1016 eclipse. Let me go to eclipses. Okay. So we can definitely see there's an eclipse here. There is an eclipse here. hmm This was an eclipse in Taurus. This was an eclipse in Taurus. Now the next person, and I mean it just goes on and on and on like this. So that was Athelred. The next king, the very next king of England was King Edmund Ironside. King Edmund Ironside, he died on November 30th, 1016, the year 1016, 2 weeks after, that's about 2 weeks after, give or take a few days, the total lunar eclipse in Gemini. Total lunar eclipse in Gemini. The very next king, King Canute, he died on November 12th, the year 1035. He died in between two solar eclipses. He died in between two eclipses. King Canute died on November 12th, 1035. There was a solar eclipse on November 2nd in Scorpio, and he died 6 days before the November 18th lunar eclipse in Gemini. The very next is Harold the First. Harold the First, his reign as a king began on November 12th, the year 1035, which was before the November 18th lunar eclipse at 1 degree Gemini. So that same one. So his reign began right as King Canute died at the solar eclipse. Harold the First, he died 1 month after the February 15th, 1040 total solar eclipse at 1 degree of Pisces. These degrees out here tearing people up. They out here tearing people up. They really are. Now, King Hardicanute, the very next king, died on June 8th, 1042, less than 2 weeks before the June 20th, 1042 solar eclipse at 3 degrees Cancer. We're in the year 1042. Well, yeah, some of them did, some of them didn't. Back then, old age was like in your 50s. Back then, and with these older kings in like the 1900s and like the 11th century, the 10th century and 11th century, they didn't have like full birth dates. They had a year and they didn't have like full birthday. Like the records weren't being kept back then. So that's why, you're hearing like, oh, he died on this day, because back then records weren't really being kept as far as like birthdays and stuff. Now, um, there was nothing for King Edward the Confessor. King Edward the Confessor, that was the last house of Wessex. There was nothing tying him to an eclipse there. So we can move into the 12th century. King Henry the First. King Henry the First died on December 1st, 1135, 5 days before the December 6th, 1135 solar eclipse. The successor to King Henry the First was King Stephen. King Stephen began his reign on December 22nd, 1135, which was the day of a total lunar eclipse at 6 degrees of Cancer. You cannot make this shit up. You just can't make this up. It's just like this is real life. This is real life. Like this is real life. Um where am I at? I have to pull up the Canute Harold Half a Canute. Who was I just looking at? Because I have to show you all the information. I have to show you all the information. Okay, so that was Henry the First. Because like I said, they weren't really keeping too many um they weren't keeping too many records, not until um not until like later on. Um so who is that? Henry the First. Okay. Died on December. Yeah, died on December 1st, 1135. And I really wish I could have everything up, but I can't. Okay. Um Maybe I can. Let me go to here. No. Let's go to here. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is where we are. His reign ended December 1st, 1135. Yeah. And that was 5 days before the solar eclipse. His successor, Stephen, began his reign on December 2nd, 1135. That was the day of a total lunar eclipse. So this keeps going. This keeps going. This keeps going. This keeps going. You have King Edward, the son of Henry III. He was born in June of 1239. He was born 2 weeks after a total solar eclipse. So remember, going back to that book article, the synopsis of that book, it wasn't until like the 12th and 13th centuries to when monarchs, at least in Britain, that's when they really started getting real cozy with magic and astrology, right? That's when they started getting really cozy. So that makes perfect sense because at this point in the 13th century, okay, so King Edward the First was born 1239. It's the 13th century. So if they're starting to get into, if these monarchs are starting to get into it, then what is keeping them from? What would prevent them from consulting with their astrologer to make plans or even make plans about when we should have children or when should my child be born to keep the power, to keep the succession of monarchy going on. What's to stop them from doing that? Nothing, right? Nothing is to stop them from doing that because who gonna check them? Who gonna check the king of England? Who gonna say no, King of England? Don't do that because the popes were doing it too. So it wasn't like the pope was about to stop them, and it just keeps going on and on from here. But yeah, and then they start changing, and these sorrow cycles, they're definitely interconnected. They started changing, and we see things really starting to pick up, um, as far as these, because I mean, I'm not about to sit here and read through 11 different names. I'm 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 not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But what I will do, I will pull up and we can kind of look and see, because this is current history. The current history, because like I said, this keeps going, this keeps going. King Henry is going all the way into the War of the Roses. I mean, even up until like things dealing with Queen Elizabeth and her children and like her father and stuff like that. So, you probably want to see like more of the modern stuff. So that's fine. Um, let me pull up the modern stuff. Let me pull up the modern stuff for you all. So, let me pull up the modern stuff for you all. So, okay, because I need to pull up these dates. Let me pull up these dates so we can kind of look at these things. Um, and it's really funny. It's really funny. Okay, so let me pull this up. Okay, so let's go with let's start here. George the Sixth. So I want to start here with you all because we can kind of see how, and it's just funny how some things are just meant to be and some things aren't. But let's go there. Okay, so George the Fourth. I'm sorry, George the Sixth. George the Sixth. Um, George the Sixth. He is the father of Queen Elizabeth. Okay, but let's go back to Edward. Edward, because this is when you know he wanted to get married to this woman who was a divorcee, and per the Church of England, you cannot marry someone who's divorced if if the spouse that they divorced from is still alive. Okay, if they divorced a spouse and the spouse has died, then yes, you can marry them. Okay, so let's go here. Let's start here because we're going to get into this current stuff. So, Let's get into this current stuff. So let's go. He was born 1894. Y'all can tell I've been doing these dates for so long. This shit is I can barely speak. Okay, he was born 1894. When did he abdicated, right? He was the one who abdicated because he wanted to marry his homegirl, Wallace Simpson. So, he abdicated. When was his reign? His reign was from, yeah. So let's look at 1936. 1936 because that's when his reign was. 1936. He abdicated. So his reign was from January to 11th, 1936. Well. When he abdicated, the throne, he abdicated, and then his brother became the king. There was a solar eclipse. He abdicated the throne on December 11th, 1936, and there was a solar eclipse, a new moon, a solar eclipse, a new moon. Okay. During just 2 days later. Just 2 days later. Just 2 days later. Two days later. So that was London in Middlesex. Okay. So he abdicated the throne. There was a new moon. So Sagittarius. This was a solar eclipse. So it was a new moon. This was in Sagittarius. So yeah, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So yeah, Jupiter rules this kings and queens. So yeah, he gave up the throne. He abdicated the throne 2 days before a solar eclipse in Sagittarius. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Wallace. I mean, that's who he wanted. So that's who he loved. Imagine he loved her so much that he gave up being a king for her. So I don't, she might have put that thing on him. Wallace might have put that thing on him, and he was just like, y'all remember Harlem Nights, Sunshine. That thing was so good. If you threw it up in the air, it'd turn into sunshine. Yeah, y'all remember Sunshine. So Wallace might have had that sunshine. Wallace had that sunshine, and this king, he was like, listen, I ain't gonna be king no more. Take it easy. Wallace had that sunshine, and Wallace got her man, and because Wallace put that thing on him. But yeah, he abdicated right before a solar eclipse. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Yeah, it's crazy, but it's real. So we can look at uh his successor, George the Sixth. George the Sixth. This is Queen Elizabeth's father. So George the Sixth is Queen Elizabeth's father. So he began his reign December 11th, 1936. We know that was 2 days before that new moon solar eclipse. Now let me check. He died in 1952. 1952. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let's do this. So remember, I said that when it comes to astrology, eclipses were omens and they were harbingers. They were harbingers of like, listen, you might not make it. So what is we gonna do? So as we can see here, he died on February 6th, 1952. Well, well, well. He died 6 days. He died 5 days before the lunar eclipse in Leo. This was literally this was literally death of a king. Literally death of a king. Literally death of a king. It's crazy. Y'all laughing. Y'all laughing. Y'all laughing. But like I said, Wallace had that Wallace had that good. Wallace had that sunshine because her man was like, I ain't finna be king. I'm finna be with my woman. Okay. Wallace had that good. Wallace had the sunshine. Her man who was king, he was like, I ain't finna be king no more. Take it easy. And that's what happened. I mean, that's what happened, but I mean, what you want me to do? What you want me to do? What you want me to do? I can't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing about it. What you want me to do? What you want me to do? So I can't do nothing about it. So I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you, but I mean that's just the truth of what happened. So so yes, and here it is. Let me switch to this page right here so you all can see. This is the eclipse, February 11th, 1952. February 11th, 1952. So now if we go back here, so that was when he died. That was when he died. So his successor is, of course, his daughter, Queen Elizabeth. We know Elizabeth, she passed in 2022. So let's just check and see what's going on with what's going on with old girl. Let me move this over. So okay. So she was born in 1926. She was born in 1926. April 21st, 1926. Okay, so no eclipse there. But when she became queen because her father passed away, that was February 6th. That was that same eclipse. Okay? That was the same eclipse. That same eclipse. That same eclipse. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, so that's her. Now, when did she I think the eclipse with her is when they got was it when they got married? I don't think it's when they got married. Um, but I think it was when when did they get married? When did they get married? Let's go to this marriage. Second World War. Let's see. 1947. I literally have to input all these dates. Yeah. Mhm. So we can see right here, Elizabeth and Philip were married on November 20th, 1947 at Westminster Abbey. So we can all see that there. And yes, if we go to the eclipse, there was an eclipse. They got married before the eclipse. So they got married on November 20th, 1947. Um, they actually were in between eclipses. There was a solar eclipse on November 12th, 1947. And then there was a lunar eclipse on November 28th, 1947. So, and here they are. Here they are. November 12th, 1947, solar eclipse in Scorpio. November 28th, 1947, lunar eclipse in Gemini. So that's Elizabeth. That's Elizabeth. Now, when was Charles born? King Charles, who's our current, well, not our current king, that's their current king. Okay. So he was born in 1948. He was born November 14th, 1948. Oh, look. There was a total solar eclipse November 1st, 1948. So let's go here. Let's look at it. Total eclipse in Scorpio. In Scorpio. So they got married in between Queen Elizabeth and funky Prince Philip. They got married in between these two eclipses. Charles, the current king, was born after a total eclipse. Charles was born. Charles was born November 14th, 1948. So he was born after a total solar eclipse. After a total solar eclipse. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. So, going back to here, so this is Charles. You know, Charles, he was married to Diana. He married to Diana. Okay? He was married to Diana. Now, let's look into that. Now, Princess Diana, let's look and see. Princess Diana, okay? She wasn't born on an eclipse. She wasn't born. She wasn't born on or near one. But when did they get married? I think they got married close to an eclipse. So let me see. Okay, so 1981. Okay, Diana became Princess of Wales at the age of 20 when she married Charles, then 32, on July 29th, 1981. Well, let's go on over here to so if we're here, oh look. Do we see this here? Do we see this here? So going back to it, Diana became Princess of Wales at age 20 when she married Charles on July 29th, 1981. We go over here to July 29th. They got married right before a total solar eclipse. Now, looking at all of these eclipses, as I've been looking through all these monarchs and their marriages and coronations and deaths, I have come to find that the total eclipses, the ones where you get full dimming of the sun or the moon, those are the ones that I see a lot of, like, regime changes and, like, people, influential monarchs are born during those. But yeah, they got married right before a total solar eclipse. Married right before a total solar eclipse. So that's pretty significant. That's pretty significant. So yeah, I mean, like, we literally can't make this shit up. Now, died, when Diana died, and Diana was, um, she had her an astrologer too. Diana had an astrologer. Um, her death, her death, Diana died on August 31st, 1997 in Paris. Well, let's go to 1997 and let's see. She died in this car crash. Oh, what do we have here? Diana died 2 days before a solar eclipse in Virgo. August 31st, 1997, solar eclipse. It was partial, but it's still an eclipse on September 2nd, 1997. Her funeral was televised on September 6th, 1997, and that's after that solar eclipse. After that solar eclipse. After the solar eclipse. Um, yeah. Yeah. So, let's see. So that's that. So, let's go here. The heir to the British throne is Prince Williams. Prince William was born June 21st, 1982. William was born on a fucking solar eclipse. He was born on a solar eclipse. He was born on a solar eclipse. Here's a solar eclipse right there. He was born June 21st, 1982. He was born on a solar eclipse. He was born on a solar eclipse. Now, that's just that. We can keep going. We can keep going. Kate Middleton, the wife to Diana's son William, she was born on a solar eclipse. I mean, on a lunar eclipse. So William, who is the heir after current King Charles, William, who was the son of Princess Diana, William, who was born on June 21st, 1982, a solar eclipse. His wife, Kate Middleton, she was born on January 9th, 1982, a total lunar eclipse. You can't make this up. You literally can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. So like I said, we can go back to it just so we can check the dates to make like I am not bullshitting at all. Catherine, this is Kate. She was born January 9th, 1982. And then we see January 9th, 1982, total lunar eclipse. Yep. So, yeah. Yeah. So, that's there. That's Charles. Um, let's see. I didn't even look into these children because these are children, like they're little kids. But I definitely know. Um, let's go Diana Princess as Wales. Let's go into her children. Children. Engagement, children. Uh-huh. So let's go. So Harry, right? Harry. Harry was born 1984. So let's just see if there's anything 1984. Let's see if he was born around anything. I don't think so, if I'm remembering correctly, but he was born September 15th, 1984. Oh yeah. Nope, he wasn't born. Um, yeah, he wasn't born on any eclipse. But Meghan Markle, Meghan Markle, okay, everybody all up in arms. She was born August 4th, 1981. So let's go back here to 1981. Let's go back. She was born August 4th, 1981. No, that's 82. So yeah, she was born. Yeah. She wasn't born on one, but yeah, let me see. Let me go 1981. Make sure this is right. But no, she is. Now let me go back to my notes. Because I know that because I looked this shit up earlier. Okay. So she was born 6 months after the solar eclipse of February 4th, 1981. So she was born 6 months. Remember, eclipses occur in pairs, and eclipse season is usually like 6 months apart. So yeah, she's still tied in too, but not as much as notice how like Prince Prince William and Kate Middleton, notice how they were born on these solar eclipses, and they're still in. They're still part of the monarchy. But when we talk about Harry, Harry was not born uh Harry was not born on a near an eclipse, and Meghan Markle wasn't born on or near an eclipse. So my conspiracy theory is they're not the important ones, and I mean we can already see it because quote unquote they're not royalty anymore. Right? When you look at Harry, um like when they talk about Harry in here, like yeah, he gave his stuff up. So they stepped down as working royal. So yeah, when were they? Let's see when they were married. Let me see when they were married. The eclipses. Oh, and Charles. Let's go back one because I have more notes. So let's go back to Harry, father Charles. Okay, so Charles was coronated. His coronation, May 6th, 2023. That's when he was coronated. His coronation. So let's go to 2023. He was coronated the day after a lunar eclipse. His coronation, May 6th, 2023. coronation. And then May 5th, 2023 was the lunar eclipse. He was coronated a day after the lunar eclipse. A day after. Yes. And Prince William and Kate Middleton, he is the sun in the total solar eclipse and she's the moon in the lunar eclipse. So that's actually energetically that's correct because when we're talking about maleness and male energy, that's the sun. When we're talking about women and a woman's girl's energy, we're talking about the moon. So her on that lunar eclipse, Kate on that lunar eclipse, and then William on that solar eclipse. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that the spiritual workers, the magicians of the alleged magicians of the British monarchy, you can't tell me that they didn't pull that shit up. You can't tell me that they didn't like you just can't. Like I don't believe you. So yeah. So that's that. Charles, yeah. Mhm. Let's see when they got married. Let's see when they got married. Okay. So Camilla, who's the current queen, let's go to 47. Let's go see 47. So let me 1947. Okay. So let's see what was happening here. Camilla, she was born July 17, 1947. Okay, so nothing for her. Nothing for her. But when she was coronated, they were coronated at the same time. Okay, coronated at the same time. So yeah, so that's cool right there. Um, wasn't anything really there. Let me check. I I just want to peek a little bit to see at these picnic. But let me go back to 1982. Let me go back to 1982 because there is talk and wonder about whether or not William is going to be the last king of England. So this is Sorrow's Series 117 that he was born under. Sorrow Series 17. The next Sorrow Series 17. Okay, because he was born 1982. So Sorrow Series 117, 29th degree of Gemini. Mm, So he might whenever his father dies, it might be like he literally might be the last one. He might be the last one of Sorrow Series 117. He literally might. Let me go back to look. I mean, I don't really um what is his children? Okay, let's look at July 2013. 2013. Okay. Look at 2013. July 22nd, 2013. Okay, so no, he wasn't born on any. He wasn't born on any. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, he's second in line. The throne. Let's see, this Prince Louis, 2018. I'm just being just a little nosy. Because usually the ones that are born on, near, or around April 23rd, 2018. Okay, I'm not seeing it here. But we do have the Sorrow 17. 117 there. But yeah. So yeah. I went through this to kind of show that, like, absolutely there is a thing with the monarchs of England and these solar eclipse. It's just literally a thing. Um it's literally the thing. But yeah, yeah, Meghan Markle, she was born 4 days after the total solar eclipse of July 31st, 1981. So 1981, let me go back to 1981 here. Yeah, yeah, I'm checking my notes. Checking my notes. Um, yeah, Meghan Markle was born August 4th, 1981. So August 4th, 1981. So yeah, she was born after a total solar eclipse. So yeah, she's tied in too. She's tied in too. Meghan Markle. Yep. She's tied in as well. So, you know, it's just crazy. Okay, Candy says, since they were born on or around eclipses, how does that manifest in general? Usually, so and you really have to look at like the signs that people are born in, but people who since eclipses are important astrological and energetic events, when someone is born near an eclipse, on an eclipse, something like that, it's usually a sign of something big in their lives. Something big in their lives. Um what that is, it just really depends on it just really depends on the person and how it falls. Um it just really depends on how it falls, but let's see. Let's see. Let me pull in her let me pull up Meghan Markle's chart because now I'm curious, so I have to make a new chart. So let me stop sharing this screen and let me pull in um so y'all can see the chart because I'm about to make her chart up. Okay. So let me create Meghan Markle's chart. She was born um August 4th, 1981. So new Meghan Markle Aug 4 1981. She was born in at 4:46 a.m. I'm just going with 4:46 a.m. She was born in Canoga Park. Canoga Park. Okay, so LA. Okay. So let me see. What is her? Okay, we really don't have a time. Let's go astro.com. Let's see, do we have a time? Oh no, we do have a time. 4:46 a.m. Okay, so her rod and rating is good. Edit chart. 4:46 a.m. Calculate. Chart 1. Okay. So, yeah, so this right here. Okay, so this is her chart. Now let's open up the eclipses of 1981 and see if we can glean some type of information. So, calculate chart as chart 2. So, yeah, this solar eclipse affected her personally. Okay, this is a solar eclipse, so this is a new moon. This is a new moon. So something new happening to her, something new happening to Meghan Markle in her second house. So material possessions, the second house things, material possessions, money, wealth is here. And yeah, so she was born. So this is a second house Leo. So she was actually born with the regal star, the fixed star Regulus, the fixed star Regulus. She was born with that in her second house. Um so Regulus is the fixed star in the Leo constellation. That is the royal star. It's the royal star. Um that's Regulus. So yeah, this is yeah, she definitely had the financial transformation in her life, material possessions in her life. It's a lot of assets, income, personal possessions, things that you value. Um it's a house of money. It's a house of people. So, we see how this eclipse, that eclipse that happened in her second house. We see it here. We see how that um yeah, yeah, we see how this has how this did for her. Absolutely. 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 Mhm. And look, she has the moon. She has her moon is in Aquarius in the 8th house. So how people feel about her and other people's money. Mhm. In the 8th house. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So she was destined as well. This is why I'm just like, yeah. You said Harry always knew he was a spare? Yeah. I mean, that's really why monarchs be having all these kids. So if one of them die, you still got some backup. But yeah. So Meghan Markle it's been right there for look at that. Look at that. Her north node in Leo. What? Her north node in Leo, she has a Leo sun. What? Mhm. She has a Leo sun. Yep. And look. Her Venus is at 7 degrees, the same degree point as this. So you have the royalty of this new moon in Leo touching um, on your Venusian, the same degree point right here. Oh, baby, yeah, it was time. It was time. It was just meant to be. But in looking at this, you can't tell me that. Uh, yeah, yeah. You can't tell me, but yeah. So Regulus is right there. Mm-hmm. Regulus, yeah. This is nice. This is nice. This is really nice. This good for her. Good for her. Good for her. So yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, it definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So listen, what do we think about all of this? What do we think about this? Like, I mean, I did not go through every monarch that had, either their birth, death, coronation, or come to power during an eclipse. I didn't go through everyone, but we kind of started a little bit at the beginning and then we kind of ended right here. So what do you all think about that? Like that's some crazy energy, right? Listen, I don't care what no one says. I just don't care what no one says. Like, she definitely this eclipse stuff is it's interesting. Um, yeah, it's interesting. So, um, I don't know, but again, like I said, no one can tell me that there's not something going on with this because it really is a thing. It really is a thing. So, like I said, what do you all think about this? Y'all have any comments and any thoughts before I end this? Because I do have to get going. Child, I've been busy all day. So get out of here, iCloud. I don't care, iCloud. So let me get rid of this. Okay. Well, if there are not any thoughts, questions, comments, then I will close this out. So again, everybody out there using magic, they using astrology, they using something. And you can't tell me that the British monarchy wasn't doing something like that. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And there have been other eclipses and stuff too, shadowing things in history, following things around in history. Not Camilla the side chick queen. That's funny. Um, yeah, there's definitely some things. Um, I did a little bit more research. Um, I did just a little bit more research, and here are two things that happened around an eclipse. So, the Oklahoma City bombing that took place on April 19th, 1995, was 4 days after the lunar eclipse in Libra. So, the Boston Marathon bombing on April 15th, 2013, that was 10 days before the April 25th lunar eclipse in Scorpio at 5 degrees of Scorpio. So, like I said, you just kind of have to. Oh, and check this out. Check this out. The Oklahoma City bombing, that lunar eclipse was in Libra on August 15th, um, 1995. The Sorrow series number for the Oklahoma City. So that lunar eclipse was August 15th, 1995 in Libra. That lunar eclipse was 4 days after the Oklahoma City bombing. The Sorrow series number for that eclipse is 112. The Boston Marathon bombing happened 10 days before the April 25th lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and that was Sorrow cycle 112 as well. That was Sorrow cycle 112 as well. So as you can see, we have these events happening. Both of them happened in April. Both of them happened in April. Both of them were bombings against people, against the public. hmm Both on Sorrow cycle 112. Eclipses of Sorrow cycle 112. Both of them are lunar eclipses as well. So, Candy Me says this lunar eclipse has been interesting energy wise. Many businesses ended. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So I just gave you those two events in United States history, years apart, but same energetic energy of those eclipses. Same Sorrow series 112, and you literally can't make it up. So, Empress said this was great. I'm glad you found it interesting. Like I said, this was more of a educational, let's compare things with actual dates. No, we were pulling out actual facts of things that happened and lining things up, which is what a lot of astrology is. So, um, thank you all for sticking around, for watching this and just listening to it. Um, I- you just can't make things up. So, you know, um, again, thank you all for being here. There will not be a part two. This is it. I'm done. I'm done with this because this has taken me a few days to kind of compile all this information. So I'm done with this. But there is a thing with these eclipses in the British monarchy with these reigning kings and a couple queens. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna see y'all a little bit later. If you know someone who may be interested in this type of content, please share it with them. Because like I said, we just went over facts. Yeah, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to take in, but we just went over facts. We just went over facts and we just showed the correlations. So we went over straight facts. So yeah, like I said, it was a lot and I'm tired now. So I still need to get my life together before Babe gets home. So, like I said, I love y'all. I will see y'all hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully Friday. So yeah, I'm gonna see y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. Um don't do that, Isis. But yeah, so okay, y'all. I'm about to go. Y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good evening. I love y'all. Bye.